Let's talk about surplus and the new buyer in 2020 with COVID going on right now. Anyone who is in the firearm world right now or trying to get into the firearm world as a new buyer knows that most new firearms are extremely hard to get, extremely limited, and then if you even do get, say, a brand new AR-15, you will most likely not find ammo. It's not there. Everyone's buying it up for whatever reason. It's not coming in for whatever reason. That's a whole different subject. But back to the surplus. There's no reason, as a new shooter who is coming into the world of shooting, who's trying to find something because they don't have something, no reason to skip up surplus. This Mauser, along with the bayonet and 150 rounds of ammo. For those who don't know, 8mm. Some of them 7mm. That caliber is more than adequate for self-defense, hunting, and using it for whatever purpose you may need to use it for. And all of this was found a few weeks ago for less than $500. Every bit of it. The rifle, for those who don't know, is bolt action. Holds 5 rounds. 5 rounds of 8mm will take any animal in North America. It's a big bullet. There's nothing wrong with it. We are so used to, in today's age, having to have that semi-auto AR, that semi-auto AK. We have to have that because that's high capacity. Well, if you can't hit your target, it really doesn't matter how many rounds you have. But yet, for me, with 150 rounds of ammo, and knowing I can still buy surplus ammo right now, with no limitations, I could buy even more if I wanted to. I could take, I don't know, 50 of these, make an afternoon practice, shoot this at every kind of range possible, from 20 feet all the way up to 200 yards, and practice that, learn it, master it. Guess what? I'm an adequate force if I sit down and practice with it. There's nothing wrong with bolt actions in today's combat world. Nothing at all. Bayonet, to be honest with you, is quite useless in today's world, because you shouldn't be that close to someone if you're having a firefight. But still, it's still a edged weapon, which came with the package. Why not have an edged weapon? It doesn't hurt. Even if you can't get this rifle is still more than enough. It's more than enough to do anything you need to do. You can go online right now and look up a store owner who was defending his store in Portland with a Lee Enfield from, I think it was World War I, when he was in the interview. I think that's what he said. But he was defending his store with a World War I rifle. Because guess what? No one wants to get shot with anything. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it is 22 CBs, little tiny bullets. A bullet is still a projectile. It's still going into you. It still hurts. It's still something that should not be inside of you. If you don't plug the hole, you'll bleed out no matter what. That's how bullets work. Plenty of people have been killed by accident with a 22 and on purpose. Plenty of people during World War I and World War II were taken out with Mauser rifles. So there's no reason not to. And why not buy it? If you can't find an AR, but you can find 100 of these for $400 a piece, why not buy it? It's better than nothing. It's better than throwing stones at somebody. You shoot someone, you're still shooting them. Plus, on the flip side of it, if everything calms down, the world goes back to being semi-normal, still worth money. These things have skyrocketed in value. This particular one is a Turkish Mauser. I remember seeing these not too long ago for $150 in the market. Now, with the way this one will be graded, I would expect to see it for $450, $500, minus the ammo, which I got this entire package for $500. So why not buy it? I can still, which I currently looked to make sure, I can still buy 8mm Mauser bulk for fairly cheap. Last time I saw, I could pick up 150 rounds, just like that box right there, for $75 shipped to my house. You can't even buy 100 rounds of 5.56 for $75 right now. And you're getting 3 times the bullet. So just remember, just because it's obsolete and old doesn't mean that you shouldn't own it, practice with it, and have the skill set for it. If it comes down to it, if someone says, hey, you can have a Mauser or you can have a stick, guess what I'm taking? The Mauser. It's still good, long distance. You don't expect to shoot extremely quickly with it unless you practice. Don't expect a super high capacity, but still, if you throw a 8mm projectile downrange, it's a big round. People will duck, people will move. Don't worry about how fast you can shoot it. Make that one shot count. It's very important. That's why I tell most of my students when they come through, your first shot should be the shot that ends it. If you have to throw another 15 behind it to end the threat, you need to practice shooting. I see it way too often. People worry way too much about capacity and not enough about shot placement. So please, new buyers, new shooters in 2020, with all this COVID stuff going on, if this is all you can get, don't be embarrassed by it. No, there's other people out there who still carry this. They're still finding soldiers in Iraq, Afghanistan, all these different places who are using Lee Enfields. They're using Mausers. They're using Mosin Nagants. They're using all these different old surplus handguns and rifles because it's all they can get. And guess what? American soldiers still get killed by them. So just because it's old, obsolete, doesn't mean it's not effective. Once again, skill set overcomes your limitations with your firearms. The better your skills, the better you'll do with a firearm. Plus, if you buy this right here and practice with it and learn this, and you figure out, hey, I like shooting long distance, I like having a bolt action, you can always go out and find 6.5 Creedmoor bolt action rifle that you can put a scope on, upgrade a little bit, do better. You can transfer your skill set from this to something else. You can even transfer your skill set from shooting this to a semi-auto. Marksmanship is more important than all the fancy gear you have on your rifle and all the fancy high-capacity magazines you have. If you're a poor marksman, doesn't matter what you have. I have new shooters who come through with $1,500 ARs, $1,500 AKs that can't shoot a target because they're relying way too much on the fact that they spent a bunch of money on the rifle and hope that it overcomes their skill set. Skill set's not there, you can't shoot well. Marksmanship first, money and weapons later. It's very important.